All right, we're live, folks.
In January, those days.
Lori, you on? You can hear us?
I'm on. I just don't know who's there.
Okay, we'll announce that after I read it.
Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning. We'll come to order the meeting of the IDA on Tuesday, November the 10th, 2020. Because of the novel COVID-19 emergency and state and federal bans on large meetings or gatherings are pursuant to Governor Cuomo's Executive Order 220.1, issued initially on March 12, 2020, and amended to date, suspending the open meetings law. The general meeting scheduled for November 10, 2020 is being held by Saratoga County Industrial Development Agency in accordance with the provision of Article 18-A of the New York General Municipal Law, which will be held electronically via conference call instead of in a public setting open for the public to attend. Members of the public may listen to the meeting and comment during it by dialing in 605-475-4069 and entering access code 445131#. Dialing in at 605, let me repeat that, 605-475-4069 and entering access code 445131#. Pre-meeting comments may also be submitted to the agency in writing and electronically to Mike Valentine, M. Valentine, at Saratoga County, New York, NY @.gov. Comments may be made during the meeting following presentations of the agenda items by the speaker. Please provide your name clearly prior to the question or comment. Minutes of the preceding public hearing and general meetings will be transcribed and posted on the agency website. In attendance today is Andrea D. Domenico, Tom Lewis, Walt Winchett, Pat Green, Rod Sutton, and those are the members in attendance right now. I'd like to have approval of the meeting of the minutes of October 13th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Walter?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The application for Impact Athletic Center in Half Moon.
Actually, I want to go PVA first.
Oh, PVA?
PVA.
I'm sorry.
Dennis is going to change the order.
Okay.
I'm missing one person, sir. So we'd like to do PVA first if we could.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Good morning, nice to see you. We have Antonio Giordano from Precision Valve and Automation. Why don't you come over here and stand? They can probably talk a little bit easier. Sure. This is a project that is taking a former building that is being used as a soccer field in the corporate technology park, or the Capital Region Business Park in Half Moon, off of Sibley Road. Was put into existence by the Egleys back in the mid-90s. And this facility has not been very successful in its efforts. PBA, who has a facility in the town of Half Moon, but their main operations is in the town of Close. They're here to talk about taking over, buying a facility and rehabbing it to make it their home for manufacturing. And it's a pretty simple project for a change. You get in, you rehab it, and you're bringing up about 150 some jobs. That's the plan. So why don't you go ahead and do a brief breakdown? Sure. They've got all your information. Yep. So if you want to revert to anything, go ahead, and I'll talk after that.
I'll be as quick as possible. I think most of you are familiar with Precision Valve and Automation as a whole. So again, the project is to move into the Half Moon Sports Plex, which is about 76,000 square feet. Contrary to our building, it's a wide open rectangle, completely clear span, which is very favorable to manufacturing processes. Compared to our existing facility, which is 115,000 square feet, there's a lot of halls and rooms. It's really broken up into 5 or 6 corridors in the building. Creates a lot of inefficiencies. The building has been for sale for quite some time. We made a deal with the Ableys. We felt that the wide open floor plan would create a lot of efficiencies in our manufacturing process. So we're in the 11th hour of getting this deal completely done. We've been to the planning board already, have a formal meeting coming up, and We plan to move our entire factory, which is about 200 employees globally today, about 180 employees in our Cohoes building, and we're going to bring 162 approximate employees to the facility at 6 Corporate Drive in Half Moon, and about 20 of our employees will then go up to our existing facility in 15 Solar Drive, which is also in Half Moon, New York. We're going to do this really fast. So our goal is to be up and running and manufacturing by June. So we've engaged BBL on the construction side. We're well into design. As I mentioned, we've been to the planning board. Again, we're here today asking for assistance from the IDA and the county to help us with a lot of the job and cost pressure to our employees. We are a global company. I have employees all around the world in countries such as Mexico, Europe, Korea, China. And the data point I put in one of the presentations effectively is about 40% cheaper for me to hire employees internationally. Our founder and owner, Tony Hines, has made it a point throughout his career to keep as many jobs as he has locally. It is tough to make what we make in the U.S., let alone in New York State. But through the assistance of these programs over the years, it's really helped us. Today, more than ever, with a lot of the tariffs that were slapped on our equipment became 25% more expensive. Basically anywhere outside the U.S. In the past year and a half. We've seen that in sales declines in our international business. And the programs that we've applied for here will assist us in being able to probably keep 40 to 50 jobs here in the U.S. that otherwise will most likely have to go overseas for us to maintain a reasonable business model. That's
Well,
short and sweet.
The project is $10.5 million. The purchase of the existing facility is $5.5 million. There's renovation. The one interesting thing about that site, it does not have a concrete floor because it's a sports complex, right? An older one. So it makes it easier for them to do the wiring and their piping and things in the facility during reconstruction. The pilot that they're asking for the requesting is a 10-year manufacturing pilot, freezing the assessment as it sits today at $2,108,000. And they're looking at mortgage recording tax of $41,250 estimation for the exemption there, sales tax exemption of $161,000. The property tax over the 10 years will save them about $580,000. So total savings, bottom line, is $684,000. Again, the key here is keeping the assessment as it sits today for the next 10 years. I have spoken with the town. They are supportive of the project. I know Mr. Tolson's not able to be here this morning, Supervisor Tolson, but they are looking forward to this project if it comes to fruition. Our issue here, as Antonio said, was one of timing, just because things are moving very quickly, and it's a slower period right now. So if they're going to shift and move, this would be the best time to do it in the very near future. BBL you're talking with about the construction?
Yeah, they're engaged already as our contractor.
Yeah.
So they're leading obviously the permitting and the design, and we've been having weekly design meetings on basically the footprint, which I put in a presentation, a lot of the concept drawings for everybody to see.
So the construction employment page in the back has not been, it still says TBD because they're still in design, understanding what the type of work is going to be done. That will be filled out and given to the IDA to put online to make sure everybody gets a chance locally to bid. But it is a local firm that's going to be doing the work as it is. Questions?
Andrea?
Yeah, we had the subcommittee take a look at the application. We were satisfied with, what we saw to recommend it to the board for review. One of the questions that I had asked Antonio, and he can clarify on the record, is where they currently operate out of. One of my questions was, my concern about taking a business out of Albany County and bringing it to Saratoga County. So Antonio, if you could explain where your current business operations are being held and who owns that property?
Sure. So our current factory in Cohoes is owned by the shareholders of PVA as well. So we're not impacting any third party in that manner. And our goal would be to lease that facility most likely to a larger either manufacturing or distribution style company who would most likely fill it with the size of jobs that we are leaving with. I would guess somebody from 100 to 200 jobs would fit that building. We've been in those conversations. Obviously, we wouldn't just vacate without, we have kind of brokers working on finding people for the building. I don't think we'll have any issues filling the space.
Okay, good, thank you.
So to follow up on Andrea's question, you were forced to move your operations to another location. That was the Coes location was not going to work for you anymore. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep. We spent a lot of years, 5 or 6 straight years working with Toyota, and every 6 months we kind of reconfigure our manufacturing lines, process, and turn them. And one of the big bullet points over the years has been we need more fluent working space. So we've been looking for properties for quite some time.
Is this a property that you could add on to, should things go well for you, that if you were to expand on in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. It comes with about 9 1/4 acres. Obviously, there's plenty of parking for the need that we've applied for. While it's less square footage, it feels bigger, and it's probably going to look like we can operate more, make more equipment in the space because of the open nature of the building.
And do you do shifts, or the 160 people you have on a daily basis?
Yes, yeah, it's locally here. So PVA doesn't typically run multiple shifts. We've done a lot of that through the COVID period, again, to spread people out through the
Right.
production floors. But historically, most of our business, the building's running from about 6 a.m. till 6 p.m., kind of like a hybrid. There's groups that come in very early, some that come in 8, 9 o'clock and stay till the end.
5 days a week?
5 days a week, and then typically, occasionally we'll have deliveries and some things done on the weekends, but usually not a lot of traffic on the weekends.
Antonio, what's your status with the town of Half Moon before the planning board? Is that what you're doing, site plan?
Correct. We're on the site plan, we're on the planning board meeting for the 23rd, of which we've submitted our site plan and our change of occupancy application as well. And again, we kind of did a preliminary meeting to make sure the project was okay and everything they needed. And so our confidence level, I think, is pretty good.
Oh, good, okay.
There's a 4,000 square foot addition they're putting on the one end for truck docks.
Oh.
It's a very small addition because that makes it easier for the truck dock situation.
Yeah, the building right now has no loading docks, which is imperative to our business model. So about 4,500 square feet on one of the gable ends, and then we have about another 1,000 square feet or so kind of coming out the front of the building. There's a kitchen in the building now. And our company actually has a chef, and we provide subsidized meals for all of our employees. We're going to blow that out a little further to make it a little bit more of an industrial kitchen. So that's kind of the square footage renovation in the front of the building as well.
Nice.
Antonio, one of the things we look at when we're considering providing assistance is if it's a business from outside the area, we're looking to seek to attract through these tax incentives.
Sure.
If it's a business that's within the area, particularly, and Andrea asked the question about Albany County, we don't want to pirate businesses from our people within our region. But it sounds as if you're faced with, again, with a situation where either you're busting out of your seams in some ways, so you have to find a location, and what you were trying to do is from the literature I've read so far, is not to disrupt your your workforce, because they can still drive across the river.
Right.
A lot of them live locally. You're maintaining that balance, but you're also faced with the pressures brought on by what's happening internationally with the tariffs, and all these forces are working together, and this is the best solution for you, but you still need assistance to maintain that size workforce and hopefully grow it in the future. And is that a kind of a fair summary of what you were faced with?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at the current business environment, again, manufacturing over the last 2 years has been on a significant decline. Obviously, COVID exponentiated that quite a bit. There's been a little bit of a resurgence in U.S. business, kind of medical and military and defense, I think, as most would expect. Our sales are down significantly over the course of 2020, and this is a chance for us to kind of reorganize, reduce costs and efficiency processes, and again, maintain that employee base. We have had to have some layoffs in the course of 2020, but again, to the magnitude of our revenue declines, we're sub 15% in employee decline of the year, where I think most companies in our sector are probably dropping 30 to 40% in employee base.
Mr. Chairman, if I would add, just to back up, Antonio, when you started the conversation, you had said to the board members, you're all familiar with PVA.
Yes.
There's not a board member here, though, who was a member of this board in 1997 when the first project closed with the IDA. So the first location you had mentioned, and I forgot the name of the.
Solar Drive.
Solar Drive. There was a facility located there, constructed there, and then that was again in November of '97. December of 2006, there was an addition on that same location. So we've had that history since '97 between the IDA and PVA. Then there was a location change later to Green Island. All right. So just as far as background, it's
Yeah, they couldn't add on to the building in Solar Drive anymore, it was maxed out.
If you look at our history too, we typically come with a lot of our suppliers and vendors move with us. That building in Half Moon, 2/3 of it is effectively rented right now by a global company, which is a materials company. Again, we're an equipment maker, but we use material applications. So one of our kind of partners in business ended up moving into one of our buildings locally, and they had their headquarters in Connecticut, and we convinced them to buy a local company and move into that building. So again, we do a lot of that. We'll have our marketing strategist firm is actually going to move into our building with us. They currently occupy about 2,500 square feet in our existing building. They're also going to move into the new facility with us. They are a startup New York company, so again, we spend a lot of time incubating companies, partnering with local organizations in every aspect, not just manufacturing.
Will that, will they get a break on the rent because of the, in the event that we do offer this pilot program, will they be, realize part of the savings in rent?
So the company that Startup New York, it's a very straight relationship. We hire them for a contract and for marketing at their fair market rate, and they rent from us at a fair market rate. If you actually looked at the deals of their lease, it's a very, very favorable rent schedule as it is already.
Okay. Questions, anyone?
one other item just to add in is that you had mentioned we have the property has an assessed value of $2,108,000 right now. Going over that with Dennis, we wanted to make sure that when we go to the pilot agreement, if it is approved, that number is thrown right into the pilot like we've done with others, because we're looking to freeze that rather than leave something in there saying initial assessed value. And you get going back and forth with assessors, and you got to keep tracking our history of what that assessed value was in the beginning, and it changes with revals. So if we take the pilot agreement and put that frozen amount of that $2,108,000 right into the pilot, that will help whoever's figuring pilot bills in the future.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
I don't have any more.
I'd like to have a motion to advance the application to a public hearing. We'd be looking at Tuesday, December 15th for a public hearing, and that would be in the town of Half Moon. And I think, Kevin, we could get in anytime over there.
With open arms?
Oh, good. You won't lock the doors on us, so.
I'll make that motion, Rod.
So that's the third Tuesday in December?
That's the third Tuesday.
Third
The
Tuesday.
second one would be the 8th?
Yeah.
So you want to go 15th?
15th, well, that's what's on.
Gotcha.
It's 15th, okay with everyone?
Yep.
Public hearing on the 15th, there's a motion by Pat, second.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, just quickly, we have had meetings internally at Town Hall with the applicant here. We expect this is a 1 or 2 meeting, planning board meeting. It's been reviewed by our planning director and our planning board chairman, so we do not expect this to be any issue. In fact, this is a welcome addition to Sarasota County into the town council.
Thank you.
Is that at 8:15 also? 8:15 in the morning?
Probably
Normally
8:30.
8:30.
8:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
8:30.
This was a special,
Okay, got it.
We have a time constraint.
I
We have to be out here
understand,
by
yeah,
9:30, that's why we started a little bit earlier.
You've got
But no, it would
54
be at
minutes
8:30 on Tuesday, December 15th in the town of Half Moon. There's a second. Any further discussion? Then all in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
everybody,
much,
for your time.
Tony.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dennis, are you ready for impact, or should we skip? Dennis?
Sure, Dennis. Yeah.
Are you ready for impact? you ready for impact?
I am,
or should we
sir.
go over? Okay.
Well, I'm ready to go.
Okay.
Gentlemen, come up here, and I'm gonna do you all a favor. We'll sit on this side now, we'll spread the germs a little differently. Up here, gentlemen. This is a project, another one for the town of Half Moon. It's gonna be located across from the Half Moon Light Industrial Park. Mike, would you take one and pass that around? Over here, guys. That way everybody doesn't have to turn their head around, that's all right. Good seeing you. This is Christopher Litchfield, and Tom Herter, two principals of the company. The facility that will be, I'm sure you all read the information, 85,555 square foot building. Total project cost is over $11 million. This is a retail service project, something that's not available in our county or in the town of Half Moon, and it will be bringing in many thousands of people during a tournament as they run them on the weekends, as well as other services that will be available there. I'd like them to go ahead and give a presentation, and we'll go from there. Gentlemen.
Good morning. I just want to thank the committee for taking the time to meet with us this morning. I'm going to give you a little bit of background on the project and how we got where we are, and then Tom's going to give a little more of the details on the finances. About 4 years ago, I have two daughters, and about 4 years ago we got into several years ago when my daughters were young, we got started in the travel volleyball community. Growing up, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know it actually existed. But having two daughters and learning that this world existed, it's huge. A typical week for us with two daughters, different ages, playing club volleyball would be to travel to Shelma High School on a Tuesday night to drop one daughter off. Schenectady High School on Wednesday night to drop the other daughter off. Sundays, their second practice. One was at Union College, the other one was at McKeel Christian Academy. Then we load up the car on weekends and travel Hartford, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Rochester, wherever these tournaments are. And when we had local tournaments, they'd be spread all over. We'd have a few teams at Skidmore, a few teams at Union, they'd be at the Saratoga City Center. They're just wherever they can get a couple of courts, the YMCA. So you find yourself driving all over the Capital District for a tournament. So about 4 years ago, we visited a facility in Rochester that just opened. Beautiful facility where you could get all this under one roof. And my wife and I said, why is there nothing like that in our area? So we began to explore it, ended up buying a piece of property in Half Moon where we all live, and wanted to put this all under one roof for the kids of our community to be able to have practices, have tournaments, and be able to bring that home, kind of a home facility for these teams. After purchasing the property, I learned that Tom Herter was toying with the idea of doing something similar. His background, his pedigree is basketball for his family, and we connected and have been developing this plan to get to the point we're at.
Yeah, I think I'll echo what Chris said, having 4 kids that have come up through athletic ranks. You know, they played multiple sports, but ultimately focused on basketball. My oldest going to Siena College on an athletic scholarship. My second son going to Maryland on an athletic scholarship. Unfortunately, he dropped out of college, but he's doing okay, playing in the NBA. And my 2 daughters are at Shenandoah. My oldest daughter, Megan, will go to Providence College next year on a basketball scholarship. So we're ingrained in the basketball community locally. Fortunate enough to call a lot of people friends in that community, and we've looked at this type of project for years. You know, my oldest son is 23. When he was in 3rd grade, with a group of gentlemen, we looked at doing this type of project, and it just wasn't feasible at that time. And what Chris proposed and kind of what we collaborated on with the project really seemed to fit, and the timing is definitely right. Given what we're going through with COVID, kids nowadays, right, they're sitting at home. And if they're not sitting at home, they're desperately trying to find an outlet to play, whether it's volleyball, basketball, or even indoor futsal, which is a soccer-based game, so, and train. So what our facility hopes to fill is a need in this area. a need that you have public schools that are overflowing with gym space requests. They don't have enough of it. And the model for today's younger athlete is not simply to play on his public school team or even his private school team. There are club sports that are becoming more and more prominent. That has been the case for years with hockey, and that seems to be trickling into other sports nowadays, especially given some of the guidelines or restrictions that kids are being put through, that public schools simply can't bend as much as maybe a club sport could. So facilities like Impact are going to be sought out, and we hope, given our experiences traveling around the country, I've probably made it to half the states in this country just because of basketball, and that's with my kids. So we've played in all the national massive tournaments. We've been to Atlanta, we've been to Chicago, we've been to Houston, Minneapolis, and those models where we traveled to those tournaments, we would go to a convention center where you would walk into a convention center that you might have a car show that is 150,000 square foot area, and they'll put 38 courts in the one area. Well, because of COVID, those models, we believe, are going to be gone. No longer will you go to Chicago and play in the same tournament with 400 teams. You're most likely going to be staying regional. Even the, in the basketball world for what's AU or club, the sneaker companies have kind of taken over, and even Nike, which the local City Rock program, which the boys are part of, they're sponsored by Nike. They're moving away from these national tournaments where they're forcing all 36 teams in their league to go to LA, Houston, Minneapolis, Virginia, whatever it may be. So you're looking at a more regional model. And for Impact, there's nothing within probably a 100-mile radius, a facility that has what we have: 6 courts for basketball, 9 courts for volleyball, along with the other things that we're going to offer with that, whether it's be a physical therapy presence, a recovery presence with cryotherapy, and a restaurant on site. So there's a lot of features to our building that will separate themselves. We've been to many places that simply rehab an old building, and the courts don't fit quite right, and all of a sudden they tuck a concession stand that you'd see at a baseball field where they have hot dogs that sit there for 2 hours and hamburgers that were grilled an hour ago. Our facility is going to be different. We're going to offer healthier alternatives for the athletes, not only to eat when they're there for a weekend, but also during the week, and also the Town of Half Moon. Anyone that's local that wants to get a better alternative for their food or a better alternative for their training, just to stay in shape, the facility will have a walking track on the 2nd level. So not only will it cater to younger athletes, but it'll cater to, we'll say, more experienced athletes, which I unfortunately fall in that category now. But we just want to go and walk and use some of the equipment to just stay in shape, maintain a healthy lifestyle. So with this type of facility, the reason there's no other in this area is purely because of the financial lift. And then even the people that had the means to possibly take on this type of project didn't have the wherewithal or didn't have the knowledge or didn't have the background. And we feel we also check those boxes. Our family is ingrained, Chris's family is ingrained in both communities, whether it be volleyball or basketball. Chris is a bigger basketball fan. He won't admit it, but because his daughters will kill him. But we feel we have a better option with Impact, not only for the local athletes, but then with the athletes that will be traveling in from outside the area. And the economic impact, it shows in this in this report, where if we have 90 teams on a weekend for volleyball, if 2/3 of those are coming from outside the area, that's a lot of hotel rooms that they're going to be purchasing, whether it's in Half Moon, Saratoga County, Malta, Clifton Park, even Latham. Not that we care about that area, but it's going to have a huge impact as far as the number of rooms that are going to be rented or used, and then the impact as far as restaurants, people eating out. And then on the basketball level, 72 teams is kind of our max with the 6 courts on a given weekend. And what we've done is we've basically outlined a conservative number of weekends, which is 40, to have these tournaments. What we haven't done is shown or added the economic impact even to the summer schedule where, and I'll give an example, my son plays for the Atlanta Hawks. The information on this project was in the business review in February. 2 days after the article came out, his assistant coach with the Atlanta Hawks, his name is Chris Gent, he's from New Jersey, approached my son Kevin and said, I hear you have a basketball facility. I'm looking to do a camp where I have other NBA assistant coaches. We bring in 20 or 30 younger NBA players, along with 30 or 40 aspiring college players that want to get to the NBA. You have a camp for a week, and then not only do you draw those people to our facility, meaning those NBA professional athletes and the better college players, but then you have a high school camp next to it. And all those young kids want to see the Kevin Herters, the Trey Youngs, or the, you fill in the blank, Joe Harris's of the world. They want to see those athletes playing. And they want to be near those athletes and be able to see them work out. And those type of during the week events that we'll have in the summer will also have a major economic impact that's probably not outlined in this. So given where we are with construction, the last time we met, we started the project. We assume you buy a piece of land and everything's going to run smoothly. And we've run into some things that just were financially not a part of our initial plan. And that's a big part of why we're coming to you, because we're just looking for some help. We're looking for a partnership where we feel we're going to fill our end of the bargain by bringing people from outside the area that are going to be spending a lot of money. We feel we're going to build a beautiful building. Munter Construction from Saratoga County is a great partner of ours. Their work is proven throughout the area. So we feel the facility will be something that Saratoga County will be proud of, and also we're going to bring a lot of people through those doors. Not only the local people looking to just be healthier, have an alternative for their kids to play a sport, but also reach those kids that may need a better option for physical therapy, where they can work out in a court and then go into a smaller training room, or whether it's a recovery aspect, or whether it's the food aspect that we outlined. So there's different facets to this building that we have really explored because of our experience. We've been all over the Northeast, all over the country, looking at what's done well and what isn't. So we feel the building is going to pass the eye test. Right now it's an open field. Doesn't really look that pretty. I think once the building is in there, I think it's going to make an impressive kind of corridor going through Half Moon, where on one side of the street you've got a beautiful building just built that is gray bar. You've got the Grace Fellowship Church across the street. You've got Enterprise Industrial Park, and then now with Impact, it's going to just create a really nice corridor. And part of that is going to be a traffic pattern that we also feel we're going to remedy by putting in a traffic signal at that Warner Road, Route 146 interchange right in front of our building, which is not something we could have envisioned, but we're gonna pay for that. And again, this is all privately funded from the Litchfield family, my family. So it's a big undertaking, and that's why we're here.
And you're getting approvals by the town of Half Moon, the school districts. Have you approached Shenandoah?
Yes.
School districts as well.
Yes, so Shenandoah School Districts, we have a very good relationship with them. Obviously, my 4 kids have gone through Shen. We have already had inquiries from different club teams or different sports at Shen looking to move away from Shenandoah from a practice standpoint to come to our facility, because what happens is you have a volleyball game in the fall that starts at right after school and goes to about 7:30, 8 o'clock. But you have the basketball programs that want to have fall workouts. Well, they get pushed to later and later. So now the kids are out on a school night until 10 o'clock. Well, those kids would rather get done with school, have something to eat, and then go play. And that's where they're looking at. So that's one example. And we also have other teams that are looking to, when it's cold, they want to move indoors for workouts, whether it be a soccer team, whether it be a field hockey team, whether it be a baseball team. And they just want an option where they can get training in one place,
So you'll have weight rooms and things like that?
weight rooms, exactly. So
I think those of us that have kids, we feel your pain. Dennis, do you have anything? Because we've all been through this, but Dennis?
Yeah, a couple things. One thing that they had mentioned was the traffic light and turning lanes, which was about $500,000. The lane that Chris did buy will require almost $2.3 million of site work. It's very wet in the back. If you take a look at that picture I sent you, there's a lot of work that needs to be done just to get it up to speed to be able to build something on it. It's so that's a big cost as well. The other piece of the puzzle, I think, is what Tom had said when you take a look at what money comes in. Right now in Half Moon, there are no hotels. I know Mr. Tallis would love to have a hotel over there, but there are just under 1,000 rooms in Clifton Park and another 300 and odd numbers in Malta. On a weekend, if they bring 654 players average, that doesn't include the families, or it could include the families, but there's more than hotels and more food. I think the sales tax, which this county thrives on, and having that opportunity to bring in that revenue that we don't see is something that's been talked about for quite a bit, what we haven't seen. We do see that with certain tournaments that happen in Saratoga Springs and in Clifton Park and Clifton Common, but it's a smaller scale. Those are the issues, or those are the comments here. The mortgage recording tax, $71,350. Sales tax is rather large because we included the materials for the light and the turning lanes and all that, which is taxable because they have to have it done. So that's why it looks at $570,000. They did ask during the subcommittee meeting. They were requested that what do you need? So we went down the list, and that's why there's a 10-year pilot that shows them paying the assessment of the facility as it sits today, which is a piece of land, $52,700 worth of assessment, and then that would save them about $135,000 a year. So as you can see, overall, with costs and everything, just under $1.9 million of incentive is what they're requesting from the IDA today. They are going to be growing full-time jobs, and on the second page of job creation, which is page 25, it shows you 30 full-time jobs the first year, 35 in the second, and 40. We had to go with full-time equivalents because we're going to use a lot of part-time people because of the way the system works, from the refs to the people working other places. I just wanted to make sure we had that information. And they do have a lot line adjustment that you got to do, right? That is going to be before the planning board. It is approved. I'm sorry, it is approved. So that did get done. So they do have the approvals, and the town had to do an addition or a revision for the PDD, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
That was done there.
Andrea?
Yeah, the subcommittee took a look at it. One of our questions was whether or not it fit within the definition of what we could do as an IDA.
Okay.
And they did a nice job making their presentation to us today with their documentation explaining how it will have a positive impact economically on our area by bringing in all these athletes. I thought what was interesting was one of the comments they had here, I think it said like 70% of the teams participating each weekend will be from outside the 518 area. So that was one of our questions, to know exactly how the economic impact, what positivity for us, whether or not it fits within the definition of what we could do as an IDA.
Yeah, one of the issues with this type of project is attracting people from outside the capital region, and the capital region is the 8 counties. So the majority, and when they say coming outside of the 518, we definitely fall in the 518 area code there, so they'll be coming out.
Right.
Yeah,
That's one of the criteria.
it has morphed quite a bit from the beginning when these IDs were created to attract or maintain industrial organizations, manufacturers. So we've changed quite a bit in 50 years. And maybe it'd be worth it, Andrea and Ron, to read into the record the language that council has provided, that Jim has, that we took a look at to see whether we could fit really
Right.
parroting what, Jim, do you have that?
Yeah.
I have it here.
So this constitutes a retail project under Article 18A of the General Municipal Law. In order for the IDA to get behind the project and provide financial assistance, it either has to constitute a tourism destination facility, which means that it's likely to attract visitors from outside the 8-county economic development region, or it has to demonstrate that it's providing a service that's not reasonably accessible to the residents of the town of Half Moon. If you go on the second prong, you also need to have the town supervisor confirm the undertaking of the project. If you keep it under a tourism destination facility, that confirmation isn't required. I think there's ample evidence in the application to support either, going the route of the tourism destination facility, I think is a little bit easier.
Yeah. I would think it's not just nothing negative about certainly health clubs, but this isn't just a health club. This is something that attracts people from outside the region, seems to offer services that aren't available elsewhere, certainly in the town and probably in the county and maybe the region. So I think I look at it as satisfying both prongs.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
Other questions from the
I
board?
have a question on the application for gentleman and Dennis. On page 4, Dennis, you say here, list of stockholders, members, and partners of the applicants.
Yes,
There's a Grantley and Joyce McLeod,
yes.
but yet on the next page, they're not listed.
But they're less than 20%.
Oh, less than 20%?
Yes,
Okay.
and that's the difference there. Greater than 20% is what's required on the second page.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I know I missed that
Wanted
too.
to make sure the numbers added up correct.
Correct.
Didn't know where they fit in the scheme of things.
I'm with you 100%.
Okay, and then on page 25 of 30, where you list the number of employees.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, throwing it out there to the board and Mike Valentine, how do we keep track of officials? Because
Andrew, we talked about this, Dennis and I reviewed it yesterday, and we'll have this when we send out our surveys to the companies at the end of December for January reporting, and then goes into the Paris report to the Controller's office, is that on page 14, you'll note the total employment there.
Right.
And the first year says 41 as far as totals. Well, 21 of those will be FTEs. And then it's taking the rest of what will be the part-time and calculating them and adding them into the 21.
Okay.
And the same thing happens in that second year. So when you start reporting second, third year, this is something Scott and Jeff's gonna have to keep in their memory bank, is calculating just exactly what the FTE and the part-time, how they
Okay.
work together. So
Okay.
it's a good point that you brought up, because that comes up in the reporting every year.
Okay.
And the amazing thing is, full-time equivalents to us, which always means to me that they're working full-time, which I'm thinking 40 hours, is 32 to 35, depending on which way you look at in New York
Right,
State.
right.
And you're
okay.
part-time?
Yeah. I'm
Thank you.
Thanks.
We already knew that.
Thank you, Chairman.
Any other
Another
discussion?
question. So have you reached out to Shenandoah at all? I mean, you already talked to them.
Yes.
Okay. And I know this is a little further down the road, but how are the students going to get from the campus that they're at right now over to your facility?
Most times with the activities, they'll be coming to our facility. They'll go home after school and then come over.
So their
and meet.
parents have to take them to your
Yes.
facility? Okay.
Yeah. Which is actually.
It's the way it
fairly
goes
common.
usually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of times, the teams, if you're in season, teams are practicing right after school. These are gonna be mostly the teams that are out of season, looking to just fill in workouts and come to our
I
facility.
see. So it's not the winter time when the basketball season's in play, it's the rest of the year?
Well, it could be. I mean, to
It could be,
honest,
yeah.
If the basketball team has a snow day, those kids still want to play.
Okay.
And they can't go to the school. So they'll be knocking on our door saying, we can come in at 1 o'clock and we'll probably have the space, and they'll rent the facility then. So those conversations have also been had.
And in the spring, when it's wet and the baseball team's in the gym and they've got the batting cages set up.
Yeah.
Kids still want to play, they still want to have volleyball, basketball. That's where our
Okay.
facilities.
Thank you, gentlemen. Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, just quickly, from Half Moon's point of view, this is not only phenomenal for the town of Half Moon in the total, but it's a game changer know,
Can someone
this will
please
help
put their
fill
phone
hotel
on mute
rooms that
who's
are in
calling
desperate
in?
need
Thank
right
you.
now. This will help do many things throughout, help our restaurants, help our gas stations, just help every facet of our small business and larger business community. And from the town board level, they saw it as a win-win all across the board. Additionally, they're doing some traffic improvements for Half Moon that's on a main state highway, which will help the local area too. But this is on a main state road right through the town of Half Moon. It's got plenty of access, and it will be absolutely fantastic attraction for our area.
Thank you. Further questions? We need a motion?
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing for Tuesday, December 15th, immediately following the PVA.
PVA,
Second.
Second? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll see you on Tuesday, the December 15th.
Okay, thank you.
Town of Half Moon. Thank you. One quick thing, the final resolution of the 574, the Hudson River Road, town of Half Moon, I think there's been a change in the financial status on that, Michael?
Well, Jim has that as he sent the email out yesterday. I don't know if you want to address that as far as for the bank, it's the banking change.
I can, yep.
And it's going to affect sales tax exemption.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if everybody saw the resolution I sent out yesterday. The original resolution identified a loan from KeyBank for the project, and we just found out yesterday that that's not the case. The loan is coming from First National Bank of Scotia.
Yep.
The original loan amount with KeyBank was $498,000. The loan from First National Bank of Scotia is $540,000 because they have to refinance debt on the property. KeyBank had that debt, so it wasn't required with the KeyBank loan, but it is with the Scotia loan. That's a little bit higher than what was in the application, so will result in a slightly higher mortgage recording tax benefit of about $1,500. So that's part of your approval in that revised resolution, but it doesn't require a new public hearing. It's just not material. Other than that, that's it. That was the only change from what had been originally sent around.
So we need a roll call vote too?
Yes.
Okay. Mike?
Okay, on that resolution, which we're at this time just calling resolution number A, how do you vote, Mr. Mooney?
Yes.
Ms. D. Domenico?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Winch?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Collison? And Chairman Sutton?
Yes.
Resolution carries 7-0. Tom did?
Tom
Tom
Lewis.
did.
Yes, we did, okay.
Okay.
Andrew?
Thanks.
I'm going to skip over the land purchase, but we have to do this quickly. On the PPE grant applications, Scott, you want to run this real fast?
Yeah, real fast. Basically, this is the second tranche for the grant program, and Jeff and I have gone through and vetted these applications. We ended up being able to bless 13 of 17 for a total of $78,000, $417.45. We've got a balance of $56,831 left right now. There are about another dozen applications,
Oh, I was
13
gonna
now,
ask you
sitting
about
in the
that.
office, plus we have a couple that still haven't provided
Yeah,
all the
there
information
are a
that
couple
we
on
need.
this list we went through that did not submit documentation. So they're on hold or outright rejected. in one
So
case.
a static look, you're looking at,
And I wanted to mention one other
56 grand.
thing. The Cocozo family, the last one, number 42, we have not reviewed that application,
Right.
just to be clear.
Okay.
But
It's in the notes on the page, so
Okay,
that's what
right.
it looks like as a snapshot this morning, that's what it looks like.
Okay.
Now, the 13 that are in have come in by mail, hand delivery, email. I have, just so we don't confuse the three of the things between Scott and Jeff and myself, they're not open, but they've been numbered sequentially as they have come in, mainly because we're hitting it close to the limit of our 250. And so what Scott and Jeff have here, having done the review, is to review from where we went last time was number 25, so 26 through 41 are the project numbers, the applications reviewed.
Okay, fine. I'd like to have a motion to accept the grant program as indicated to us.
Use Resolution B.
Resolution B, roll call, Mike?
Okay,
We
Somebody
need
make
a
a motion?
resolution. We need a motion.
Oh, no motion, I'm sorry.
and it's moved by whom?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Second.
But before we
Further
vote on it,
discussion?
I just want to note for the record that Willow Ridge Point LLC is my client in my practice. And then I'm also a member of the Board of Trustees of the Mechanical District Public Library.
Thank
I
you.
also want to disclose that I get my hair cut at Saratoga debut,
So do I. I have to disclose that as well.
but I don't think I need to recuse me.
Probably not.
Do you guys get discounts because of the lack of hair?
That's not very nice, Tom.
They pay me to come.
There's a motion on the floor, we have a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, Mike?
All right, on that resolution, grant designation is Resolution B. All right, how do you vote, Mr. Mooney?
Yes.
Ms. D. Domenico?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Winch?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Tollison?
Yes.
And Chairman Sutton.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 7-0.
I think when we,
If somebody could just give me a summary again of the total, I'd like to bring that to the Board of Supervisors.
This tranche, Kevin, was, the amount that's going to be funded is $78,417.45.
7417?
Yep,
And I see there's 56,831 left.
that's correct.
Okay.
and I think what we'll do for the December 15th meeting, we'll take a look at our finances at that point in time and see if there's monies that we want to put back in to the program based on the number of applications that we have coming in. So we'll take a hard look at that on our December meeting. So continue to take in the applications, and we'll make that decision then.
So the 13 that are there right now, we do nothing with.
Not at this point, because
Okay.
you're going to go through, you're going to blast through the 56,000 probably.
Well, that's what
So,
I'm saying. Are we going to use that 56,000 that's remaining?
Yes, we'll review the remaining outstanding ones on this tranche right here.
And we'll see
just
where we
go
stand.
First in, first out, and when we run out of money, we'll let you know, and the
Yeah.
board can take it up from
Yeah,
there.
okay.
Okay.
Stop.
Sounds good.
Okay.
In the interest of time, we've got to really, we have the land purchase, we need to go into executive session. I would need a motion to do that.
Well,
No, hold on, please.
I'll make a second.
Pat?
well, I was going to, for the record, as this body is aware, in November 2017, this agency entered into a contract with Luther Forest Technology Campus Economic Development Corporation as seller, and MRFA LLC as a developer to purchase certain real property located in the town of Malta. Information has been brought to the attention of this body by agency counsel concerning a possible breach of the Luther Forest contract by either or both of Luther Forest and MRFA. In connection with the delivery of that information, I hereby make a motion pursuant to Section 105 of the Public Officers Law that this body adjourn to executive session to discuss this matter in confidence. Included in this executive session discussion will be the members of this body, agency staff, and Mr. Matthew Brapston of the LA Group, an engineering firm previously engaged by this agency to provide advice and counsel regarding development work yet to be completed as required pursuant to the terms of the Luther Forest contract. That's my motion.
I'll second.
Second?
Anybody who's on this public call right now, the call is going to be disconnected for the purpose of this session. Thank you.
We have a second on the motion?
Yes, Andrew did.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Matt,
We can
Michael?
start this as soon as Dennis gets out of here.
All right, thanks, guys.
See you, Dennis.